Judgment. Final judgment.
Welcome in, everybody. My Lord, the Philadelphia Phillies are going to the World Series, and I could not be more elated. This is the Final Judgment right here with Tony Jigsaw Cutillo. And again, I told you I wouldn't be available all weekend. I told you we'd be coming live on Monday. I was hoping that the series was going to be over, and goddamn was it. I'm telling you, I cannot speak enough. You see, I already bit my bottom lip because I was going crazy when they won. I think we all were. Listen, obviously, make sure you're following the Final Judgment right here on YouTube. Clicking that subscription button, hit that like button. As always, powered by Heat Ratio Sports and Win Daily Sports, and brought to you by always our proud sponsor, SEO Brand.com, where all analytics start. And speaking of analytics, goddamn, did Rob Thompson give us something to remember? Did Bryce Harper give us something to remember? I'm telling you, Adam already checking in. Adam, what's up, buddy? World Series, baby. Harper, greatest player in the world. Bring on Houston. And I'm telling you, man, there is so much to talk about. You guys know what I usually do, right? I break down these judgments. I have these interviews. I have segments, but this show is easy, man. This show is easy. This show is very easy to script. My man Pat checking it, says replay is on MLB Network right now. But and that's the best part. It's on right now. Like, this is the World Series preview, right? This is the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl, where you continually watch it over and over again. The Philly special. Watch it, love it, learn, live it, love to learn it, right? Or love to live it. I swear I get my words all screwed up because I'm so excited. I really am. It is. I mean, I can't even tell you. These are the times and the moments that it's just the best time to be a Phillies fan. Adam says, I still can't believe they won it. Still seems like a dream. It really does. And it's a dream that's not going to end. It's a dream that you're continuing to live. Right? It just get in. You heard it. Just get in. And we're going to talk about so much. I want to hear from you. If you're checking, listen, I know this wasn't the post-game show. Okay. We didn't do a post-game show because, like I said, I was off the grid for a little bit, which is fine. Much needed. Some little time to get your thoughts together, a little family time. And that's what you need from now, but family time spent together watching this moment. And these are the moments you're going to remember all the time, where you were, what you were doing, who you were with. Right? This is when you know that you have Philadelphia blood injected into your stream. This is when you know if you're a true fan. And I'll tell you what, man, I said this again, it couldn't happen to a better team, right? On both sides. Couldn't happen to a better team like the Philadelphia Phillies to be able to win this game, but it couldn't happen to a better team to get smoked like the San Diego Padres, okay? A very, very hateable team. Okay, say what you want. I really don't care. You get the true Jigsaw right here. I can't stand that team. I am so glad that we are the ones to beat them, because at all the shenanigans inside the clubhouse, you see the title. They smashed the Padres selfie stick. Dude, that I'm telling you, that Polaroid, I wish somebody would get over there, take Bryce Harper's bat, and smoke that thing in the center field. That's the way that is the way I felt about that. And right, Adam, right, you say it. He knows. Adam knows me. He knows I am not a Rhys Hoskins fan, but goddamn, is he on fire? Listen, I prayed to the gods, man. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I take back all bad things that I said about Rhys Hoskins. I do. I have to. Listen, that's the best part. You know how I was getting killed. I was getting killed for my hate on Rhys Hoskins. I was getting killed. Listen, I'm a fan too. I may be a talk show host. I may be an analyst. I get all that, but I'm a fan as well, right? And sometimes you can't take those feelings away. You just can't. And the feelings when he boots balls, he swings at bad pitches. My Lord, the emotional roller coaster that Rhys Hoskins gives you. It's unexplainable. I can't even talk about it, right? I think you all know that, right? Machado and Soto taking selfies. Like, again, the selfies. Like, that was my point, right? That was my point. And we're going to get into this too, because I want to see, again, check in. Let me know how you feel. Let me know what your best, obviously, listen, the Bryce, we're going to replay the Bryce Harper. I get it. The Bryce Harper moment will go down forever as one of the biggest moments in Philadelphia sports history. Pat says MVP, and this is a great point because I'm going to bring this up. MVP could have went to both Hoskins and Harper. It really could have, man. I cannot. That's what I was saying. Like, I was watching Bryce. That's what you got to love about Bryce. Bryce is a team first guy. For all you people out there that talked about this dude being arrogant and being a me guy and this and that, I want to know where you're at, because you went in hiding, crawled up a hole, and do me a favor, don't ever come back out, because you were so wrong. Bryce Harper is the epitome of a blue collar worker. Okay. You have to understand Bryce Harper's story. Yes, listen, he was a 19-year-old prodigy that comes into Major League Baseball. Of course, he's going to have a little bit of an ego. But again, you always get, listen, you get checked by the veterans in the clubhouse, by the veterans in Major League Baseball. You always will. But he was brought up. Listen, his dad's a friggin' iron worker. He's a steel worker. His dad's a blue-collar guy. That's what I'm saying. This team, like Kyle Schwarber's dad's a cop, a blue-collar guy. I mean, this is what these guys know. Okay, this isn't an act. What you hear Bryce Harper say isn't an act. And Pat, I'm sitting there saying to myself, you know what? If Bryce doesn't hit that home run, even though he had a hellacious postseason already, not to mention what he's going to do against Houston, but just that alone, I'm sitting there saying, you know what? Rhys Hoskins could be the MVP here. Rhys Hoskins had big hits after big hits, even maybe bonehead plays. Rhys made some bonehead plays. I think we all know that, but goddamn, did he make some tremendously big hits to keep this team going at times where I think sometimes we wanted to give up. At times, it was tough. Adam says right before Harper hit that home run, he told JT, get on, I'm hitting a home run. Listen, the emotional roller coaster, I'm saying it a lot, the emotional roller coaster of these finals, okay, in the NLCS, I'll tell you what, man, if you weren't a Phillies fan, if you weren't a Major League Baseball playoff fan, you had to become a fan, because I'll tell you what, the continual moments from game 1 to game 5 were just plentiful on both sides of the ball. They really were. The oohs, the ahs, the like, I mean, you were all over the place, but you just knew, like when you felt it, the baseball gods were speaking. I say it all the time. Baseball gods talk, they speak, they inject their powers into these teams. And when you got a guy like Castellanos hit a ball up the middle, hits off the bag, and then goes into center field, and Bryce Harper scores, plays like that are baseball gods speaking. That's what it is. It's the baseball god speaking. Obviously, you need talent, but it's the baseball god speaking, and they have spoke, and we have listened, and they continue to speak. And I know everybody thinks that, Houston is a remarkable team. A remarkable team. See, this is going to be different. Let's think about this. When the Phillies went and they won in 2008, let's think about 2009. Because see, this is going to be 2009. I'm not talking about the same outcome. What I'm saying is we have to think about that. We went and played a very powerful New York Yankees team in 2009. They were definitely the more powerful team. But we could have won that series, but unfortunately we didn't. Okay, and I don't want to relive it, but I think this isn't the Tampa Bay series. This is the New York Yankees series. But again, I think we have the horses here. No disrespect against Chase Utley, no disrespect against Ryan Howard. I ain't saying that at all. But what I'm saying is there is a will in this team that I've never seen. Honestly, I've never seen it. And right, Pat says wild card champions, NL champions, World Series champions. Man, listen, I'm all in. You got to go all in. This is where you take the analyst hat off and you don't say, well, you know what? Houston goes 5 deep. Houston does it. I don't really care. This is where you just say, I'm all in on the Phillies because anything can happen. You see Bryce, right? You see Bryce. And so much I love. Okay, I want to see if people caught this. And please tell me if you did, because I know I'm not the only one. I watch these games under a microscope. I look at so many different things. And when Manny Machado hit that home run in the first inning and he rounded the base pass and he put his hand to his ear, okay, that did not sit well with Bryce Harper. That did not sit well with Bryce Harper. And I'm telling you right now, if you remember when Bryce Harper got on third base, there were some words being exchanged between him and Manny Machado. And some people thought between him and Manny, that was kind of like those guys talking about, you know what? It was the chase back when they both signed. No, that was not it. Bryce Harper was telling Manny he didn't appreciate the cockiness going around the base pass. That's what Manny Machado was doing. And that's what Bryce Harper told me. You see Manny, he said, oh, okay, man, okay. Yeah, because Bryce was pissed. And if you notice, on that last home run, when he rounded third base, he stopped. And he slowly went around third base and he looked directly into the clubhouse and directly at Manny Machado. And that right now, that moment right there, I swear to God, wants me to take my wedding ring off and go propose to Bryce Harper right now and make him my bride, okay? Yeah, no pun intended, but no, seriously, because I was in love at that very moment. Because guys, I can't stand Manny Machado, and I love that Bryce Harper spoke up and took that. But let's just go about Bryce for a minute, man. Let's go about. I mean, I've seen it all over, right? We've saw it about how this is the perfect player in a perfect situation. But the thing about Bryce Harper is Bryce Harper brings so much more to the table. I think that people even say, and right now, listen, he is locked in. I get it. He's locked in like nobody I've ever seen. Listen, even when Ryan Howard was locked in those 4 years that will never be duplicated by a Philadelphia Philly or a player in Major League Baseball for that matter, Bryce Harper right now, he is locked into a zone I've never seen ever. I mean, just from his average to his power I'll tell you what, that changeup that he looked at, I'm telling you right now, I don't know if people realize how hard that is to take that pitch, right? I don't think people realize how hard it is to take that pitch. Because that pitch right there looks so damn good to a very aggressive hitter right there. And when he takes out, I know it's been talked about, we're going to say it again, but when he takes that pitch, that just shows you hear about guys not seeing the ball, right? You hear about it all the time, guys not seeing the ball. Well, damn, if he is seeing the goddamn ball, he is seeing the goddamn ball. And again, if you're checking in right now, if you're watching on YouTube, check in. If you're watching on Twitch, check in. Facebook, check in. Twitter, if you're on Twitter, watch us right now, go over to the YouTube page, The Final Judgement. Type in The Final Judgement. Give it a follow. Give it a like. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about Mr. Klutz. Let's talk about Mr. 13-year plan. A guy who wants to lay his roots inside this city. A guy, listen, let's just play it, right? Let's just play it. This clip, I think, says it all. When you talk about Bryce Harper and you talk about who he is and what he is for Philadelphia, let's just play it. This is Bryce Harper.
Phillies, man. It's Philly, man. They hate you. You know, like the other team on the other side, they can't stand, you know, unless you're wearing Philly red or you're a Philly, they don't like you. You know, and I love that. I love every emotion that they have. I did it as an opposing player for a long time, and I wanted that. I wanted that emotion from the fans. I wanted that emotion from the fan base. And, you know, they just want you to work hard. They want you to play hard. They want you to be, you know, who you are, no excuses. They don't care if you're hurt or if you're not feeling good or if you didn't sleep the night before, or, you know, they don't care, because they pay their hard-earned dollar to get to the ballpark every day for us, and they're doing it right now, you know, for us during the playoffs. And they just want you to work hard. They don't care. They just want you to grind for them. They want you to go out there and play the best baseball you can no matter what. And I loved walking in as an opposing player knowing that I was going to get absolutely blasted by these fans. And it was what it was, and I loved it. And it made me want to come here and play, because I knew how much they cared. I knew how much they love their players and how much passion, how much drive they all have. You know, and everybody talks about, you know, the blue-collarness of this city and the fight that they have, and it just rubs off on all of us. I've said it multiple times. You know, we have 46,000 people in the stadium. It's 46,026, because we're all in this together, no matter what, where they're at, who they are, where they come from. If you got Phillies across your chest and you're a fan, you're part of our team. You're part of our organization, and you fight with us each day.
Yeah, you hear it right there. And Pat hits the nail on the head. Love when he said 46,000 fans plus 26 on the bench. You know, this is what I think people don't understand, right? And again, the thing that I kept telling everybody, and when everybody told me that I was ridiculous, right? Because I've been told that before. I've been told that I'm way over the top. I've been told by so many people that, you know, I'm a little too crazy with some of my comments. But this is why when it was Manny versus Bryce, I kept saying Bryce is the guy. Can you imagine Manny Machado sitting up at that podium saying what Bryce Harper just said? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that's the difference. Bryce Harper gets it. He gets it. Listen, let's look at this for a second. Bryce Harper, yes, when he signed that contract, yeah, it was 13 years, $330 million. Everybody, oh my God, that's way too long. But guess what? Do I dare say Bryce Harper's underpaid? Bryce Harper is underpaid as we talk about it right now. And see, that's what people don't understand. Okay, when we were talking about that contract with Bryce Harper, we consistently said, so many of us, people that actually had a freaking clue about what they were talking about, people said all the time, he's got no opt-outs. What is he doing? He's got no opt-outs. Well, you know, I don't know what's going on. And they're saying he doesn't want to be traded. He does. Listen, you think about it. Think about that contract, right? Scott Boras is probably going, Bryce, what the hell are you thinking? But finally, Bryce said, no, this is what I want. And Scott says, okay, if this is what you want, I'm going to get my commission. You're going to sign it, but this is what it is. And Bryce Harper to this day, it'll go down as one of the, if not the best deals in the history of Philadelphia. The best deals. At the time, everybody said it was the terrible deal. And let's not forget that deal was brokered solely by John Middleton, not by that stiff Matt Klintak. That stiff Matt Klintak had nothing to do with that deal. Zero. They didn't even want to talk to Matt Klintak because he was a buffoon. Okay, and if you look at it, think about what Bryce Harper said. If you watched a lot of these press conferences, he talked about Dave Dombrowski specifically because he knew Klintak was a stiff. He knew Dombrowski is a baseball guy. Dombro is a baseball man. He knows how to build championship teams. You're watching Pat Gillick version 2.0. We talked about 2008, and we talked about the master genius himself of Pat Gillick. And yes, 100% Ed Wade deserves credit, but Pat Gillick was the guy to piece some of those strings together and bring some of those guys in that nobody thought had any business Okay, guys like trading for Joe Blanton, guys like Jason Worth, okay, guys like Pedro Feliz, guys that he brought in. This is Dombro's stamp on what Major League Baseball leadership is all about when you have a clue, when you're a veteran of Major League Baseball. This is why you go out and get baseball guys, and Bryce Harper knew that. He never said anything about Clintac. This is the first time you hear him talk about general managers, and he talked about Dombro specifically. My man Rich checking in said, no way. Middleton wanted him and wasn't going to be outbid for him. Absolutely. Middleton said, this is my guy. I bet you so much that Matt Clintac wanted Manny Machado. I bet you Clintac was a Machado guy. Okay, he probably would bode well with that stiff. They're two stiffs, both together, two goons. Okay, together. That's probably what he wanted to do. He probably wanted Machado. Middleton was like, got one hit of Manny, was like, this ain't Philadelphia. This isn't what we want. They want Bryce Harper. We want Bryce Harper. We need to bring Bryce Harper here. This is why Dombrowski is the guy. Okay. And thank God we have a baseball mind in the front office. And think about the moves that Dombrowski made. Not only did Dombrowski set us up for this year, Dombrowski set us up for many of years into the future. Okay. Guys like a Brandon Marsh, who's 24 years old. Okay. Who he looked at and said, you know what? He can be fixed. I know he's young. He covers a lot of ground. And you know what? You know what's goddamn hard to get in Major League Baseball? A center fielder. A center fielder. Right now. A center fielder. That's really hard to get. Pat says, if you could switch to MLB Network, the bottom of the eighth is on, and with JT at bat. Like instantly, right? Instantly. It's on again. Pat, you know what? You let me know as soon as it's over, because I got the video that I'm going to play on here. Okay, I got the video that I'll play on here live. Okay, I can't play a live feed because they'll probably shut me off. So I got the clip of it. Okay, that I'll play on here with Scott Fransky and Larry Anderson from the baseball minds. Okay, the baseball voices, the Philly voices, we'll get to hear from. So you let me know, Pat, when that's over, and we'll play it again right here for everybody. Because again, let's get back to Dombrowski for a minute. Jose Alvarado, right? Jose, another guy, no unsung hero, Jose Alvarado. Who brings him in? Had Dave Dombrowski, right? Think about the moves that Dave Dombrowski made. Nick Castellanos, he went and said, John, you got to go over the luxury tax, man. My man Nick, he's a player. And I know, listen, I know there's a love-hate relationship with Nick Castellanos. I get it. I'm a Nick Castellanos guy. Okay. Listen, I may not always agree with his attitude and what he says, but at least he's real. You know, if you talk to Nick in the stands, or you talk to him at home, if you saw him at 7-Eleven at midnight, you know, in Philly, you're going to get the same Nick Castellanos. That's what you're going to get. Okay. And that's the best part. Okay. You're going to get Nick all over again, you know, true, authentic Nick. And that's what I love about Castellanos. Okay. But he went in and he dove all in and he said, listen, you got to pay up. We got to bring these guys. Two guys. They're both Dombrowski guys. That's the thing. Dombrowski didn't go in the free agency bringing anybody. He went in and brought Dombro guys. He brought Kyle Schwarber in because he knew what Schwarber was all about. He brought Castellanos in and he knew what Castellanos was all about. He had him in Detroit. He saw what he was doing in Cincinnati, and he knew this was the guy we need on this team. It's all about leadership, man. He made moves the right way. And not to mention that he did, you know, listen, I know I wanted another pitcher, right? We talked about this. I wanted another pitcher at the deadline. I thought about we need another guy. Okay, but Dombro held his cards to his chest and said, you know what? I'm going to go get an average guy in Noah Syndergaard. And listen, people say what you want about Thor. Okay, but here's what we have to remember. Thor didn't even pitch 100% healthy this year. And he's a guy that you're going to control for the next year or two. Okay, so you're going to have a guy like Syndergaard who's going to be even better next year. You're going to have guys like Abel and Painter that are in the minors that are ready to step up. Guys like, again, Ranger Suarez, I'm sorry, bro. I doubted you a little bit. I said I was concerned about you pitching, but guess what? You proved me wrong, and that's unbelievable. I don't mind. I will eat crow any day of the week. Any day of the week, I will eat crow. It's just the way it works. And how about that young budding superstar in Bryson Stott? Like, how many of you Bryson Stott haters are willing to stand up? That's what I want to know. How many Bryson Stott haters are willing to stand up and eat crow and say, you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong. When he was batting 087 and you were like, dude, send this guy back down. This guy cannot hit Major League Baseball pitching. This guy cannot play shortstop. How many people are ready to eat that? I bet you not a lot, because I haven't seen a lot of apologies out there. I haven't seen a lot of people coming out and say, you know what? I was wrong. Okay. But another kid who came up, who they called his name. Okay. They said, you know what? It's Bryson Stott's. This is his position. He will grow onto this team. And is there anybody? Listen, Pat mentioned it earlier. He talked about Bryce Harper, right? He talked about Bryce Harper. He talked about Rhys Hoskins. But goddamn, do we get an MVP trophy for Bryson Stott? I mean, hey, who had more bigger hits besides those than Bryson Stott? Every time I don't care if he batted 185. Every time you needed a big hit, who got it? Bryson Stott. Yeah, he's not going to go down for those unbelievable moments. Okay, he's not going to go down with those unbelievable moments that you're going to see on SportsCenter all the time. But we know as baseball fans that he came up with 1 out, 2 outs, leading off with doubles, even if he got stranded, hitting those extra base hits, those doubles, those patented doubles to get the rally going, that bring us back. Bryson Stott was the guy. He grew up 5 years in one series. 5 years in the playoffs, he grew up already. Pat says Harper just hit it. So let's relive this right now, because Pat just said Harper just hit it. Let's relive this call by Scott Francie and Larry Anderson.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive. Left field. It's deep. It's going. Yes! And it is gone!
Yes!
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, his 10th career home run in the postseason. And he may never hit a bigger one.
Oh. Wow.
4-3 Phillies in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Worth every penny of that car.
Larry Anderson, worth every penny of that contract. Listen, I don't care how many times we watch that moment. It will give you goosebumps till the end of time. It will give you goosebumps till the end of time. And you know what? I'll tell you. We've had a lot of moments in Philadelphia. We've had a lot. Okay, and we have. And this is no disrespect to anybody, but I don't really care. That will go down as the biggest moment in franchise history, in Philadelphia sports history. I mean, honestly, I asked this, and again, this is just Philly centric right now because of what happened. Obviously, this is kind of like a delayed post game right here on the Final Judgement. Make sure you're following the Final Judgement on YouTube. Make sure you're hitting that button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Joining in the shows twice a week. You see it Mondays and Thursdays. It's around 10 o'clock. Could be the next day. Could be that night, depending on the schedule. But you know the drill. It's right there. Always powered by Heat Ratio and Win Daily Sports. And most importantly, powered and sponsored by SEObrand.com, the home where all analytics come from. And like I said before, listen, speaking of analytics, everybody knows that whether you have a website or whether you have a YouTube page, whether you have a podcast, you want to know where your analytics come from. And that's what these guys at SEO Brand do. SEObrand.com. I've been doing it for 15 plus years. I'm telling you, they help me out. They can help you out. Big business, small business. It doesn't matter. These guys sit there and they take these calls that you don't want to make, but they turn those calls and make them in the leads, and then they help you make them into sales. They help you know where your website traffic is coming from and where it needs to be directed. Most importantly, listen, that's what Rob Thompson's doing right now. That Rob Thompson is directing the Philadelphia Phillies team. That's what you need. You need the SEObrand.com to direct your team, your site, in order to get to the right place. So make sure you go check them out today, SEObrand.com, and make sure you tell them that Tony Jigsaw Cutillo sent you. Now, getting on to more players that we have to talk about, right? More players that we have to talk about, because this just, even though, listen, it always starts at the top. It always starts at the top with Bryce Harper, right? It always starts. We talked about Rhys Hoskins, but this is the best part about this series and this playoffs coming forward, is we're so many people to remember. So many. I just talked about the unsung hero on Bryson Stott. Okay, Bryson Stott, how unbelievable series. And guess what? All you people with the Trey Turner, I want Trey Turner. You know what? Keep Trey Turner. Give me some Bryson Stott. I will take Bryson Stott. Rich says Thor's still throwing 94, 95 and not healthy. That is so huge. Remember that. Remember that statement. This is what I'm trying to tell you, man. Syndergaard is still not even on his game, and he's still throwing 94, 95. Okay, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. Like, we're at the pinnacle right now, and we haven't even gone to the very top. Okay? That's just this year. Enjoy this, Philadelphia. Enjoy it. I know it took us a while to get there, but just remember when we went in 07 and then 08 and 09 and 10 and 11 and 12. I mean, get used to this. We're talking about 4 to 5 years of this, man. 4 to 5 years. So, yeah, get your dancing on right now. Get ready, because we are going to continue to be dancing for the next 4 to 5 years. Okay, let's talk about the big defensive plays by Jean Segura. Listen, Gene, again, he may really mess with your mind a little bit at the plate because he's such a free swinger. But, man, when he needs a big hit, he comes up with big hits. And what he did with flashing that leather at second base in this series, I don't think could be understated, man. I really can't. He was unbelievable. You talk about the home run by Brandon Marsh. Another unsung hero comes over from the Angels. And you know what? How's Mike Trout feeling right now, sitting over there dying in Angel Land while the Philadelphia Phillies are going to the World Series? But you got Brandon Marsh coming in, and Brandon Marsh is just saying, you know what? Yeah, I couldn't really hit. And then again, what's he do? He comes over here. Okay, Kevin Long works with him, changes his swing a little bit, changes his approach, and boom, all of a sudden, we have a 285, 290 hitter that we absolutely stole, in my opinion, okay, under team control for the next several years, and going to be your steady center fielder. I mean, let's think about that, right? This is what I'm saying, Dombrowski again, right? Again, he does it again. Like, you just think about this. And one of the guys, let's remember, going up to this point, a guy who wasn't on a postseason roster, but a guy in Derek Hall who had some unbelievable moments. Listen, I'll tell you right now, you could say what you want, but without Derek Hall hitting some of those big-time clutch home runs in the middle of the season when Bryce Harper was on the shelf, we're not in this situation, right? We didn't get this wild card hunt. Okay, because all of a sudden we had an 18-game lead. No, we snuck in at the end. Okay, and guess what? A lot of those losses that became wins off the bats of Derek Hall, I'll tell you what, we need to talk about it, because that's another guy right there. That is another guy that we absolutely needed. Adam says, how about Edwin Sosa? There's another cat. Edwin Sosa, guy who couldn't hit anything in St. Louis. But again, defensive guy, right? You know, we brought guys over in 08. Defensive guys. We brought Pedro Feliz over as a defensive guy. Didn't have a tremendous bat, but we knew he could sling it from third base, okay? He knew we could sling it from third base. And guess what? Edwin Sosa not only can give us the glove, but guess what? He could play multiple positions, and they actually got him on track. He's batting .301 as a Philadelphia Philly. Yes. That Kevin Long, again, another unsung hero when it comes to a Major League Baseball batting coach. We always talk about the offense, but, man, the defense has not let us down at all. Bohm is a beast at third base. That's what Pat says. And you know what, Pat? Listen, I agree. Okay? A lot was made out from him. You know, is he really a third baseman? Are we forcing him to be a third baseman? We talked about that at the beginning of the year. Okay, do we need to make him into a first baseman? Let's trade Rhys Hoskins, make him into third baseman. I'm not saying me specifically, but just we as, as general Philadelphia. The name came up a lot. It came up a whole lot. And guess what? When you think about it, he really, again, another guy in Dickerson, the fielding coach. What has Dickerson been able to do? Take this team and make them into a defensive stalwart. And you know what? I take a lot of pride in saying that they were a very good defensive team, because I get they made some errors, but my God, that the Fox Sports broadcast acted like they were the worst team defensively in Major League Baseball. I mean, come on, man. It was ridiculous. Some of those plays that Alec Boehm was making, some of those plays that Bryce Stott was making, those plays that Gene Segura was making, okay, they're not easy plays to make. They're not easy plays to make. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of this, goes under the radar, but we as Philadelphia, we as smart fans, we already know. And before we go and keep talking about the offense, how about the hats off go to Zach Wheeler, right? Zach Wheeler. Again, I love bringing these topics up because I remember when, we were in that pitching market, and I remember we gave that contract to Zach Wheeler. And I remember, I said it before, I'll say it again. There was a lot of people that did not like that contract to Zach Wheeler. There was a lot of New York people that said, you know what? Take him. They said, take him. He can't stay healthy. He can't pitch when we need him to pitch. You can have him. You overpaid for Zach Wheeler. Well, guess what? New York? Last time I checked, you were out of the playoffs. We got Zach Wheeler. And guess what? He turned into a Cy Young Award winner right in front of our very eyes. Yeah, he did. Okay? You say what you want, but his methodical approach, his smooth delivery, he doesn't get flustered whatsoever. And I'll tell you, again, when you work in media, you do streaming shows, or you do podcasts, and you really get deep. And I don't mean just throwing a podcast up every week, but I mean you really getting into deep, to having guests and talking and networking with other reporters and analysts. And I remember, Jake Brown, and really good dude from New York, has a great show. I hit him up, and we were talking on Twitter. And when we signed him, and I said, hey, Jake, and I was trying to get him on the show, and just didn't, it didn't formulate a little bit, but, I said, man, Zach Wheeler, man, let me know. What do you think? And he was 100% honest. He said, Tony, if he can stay healthy, you got one of the best pitchers in the game. And my God, was he right? Rich says Wheeler has been unhittable. Okay. When healthy, he is a beast. Absolutely. And again, let's remember this, Philadelphia. And we're gonna get out of here on this. We're gonna finish up in about 3 to 4 minutes. But let's remember in 2008 when we rode the coattails of Cole Hamels, right? Cole Hamels rode the coattails of Cole Hamels. Pitcher 2 was Brett Myers, Joe Blanton, right? Think about the rotation. We won with the bats. And I can tell you what, that this offense, in my opinion, if clicking on all cylinders, like we're starting to see, this will be a more dynamic offense with more ways to hurt you. And not only that, but we go at least 2 to 3 deep in the starting rotation, which is more than we had in 08. And if that bullpen, okay, I'm going to throw out what I saw. Okay, they got, it was tough conditions. It is what it is. It affected everybody. Whatever. Okay, but when you could close with a Sir Anthony Dominguez, with a Jose Alvarado, with a Zach Eflin, and not to mention Rob Thompson, who is obviously undoubtedly the MVP of the entire team per se, because of the moves that he made, and every button that he hits just seems to turn into gold. Okay, knowing that he has confidence in 95% of those guys to get them done, to get the job done, I should say, that's huge. That's huge. The players feel it. We talked about it on the show before. The players feel the confidence. He has confidence in them. They feel the confidence in themselves because they know they can be relied on by their team to go out. And if they make a mistake, somebody else is going to pick them up. Adam says they can score at will and anytime they want to. You're right, Adam. You're absolutely right. So, again, the Philadelphia Phillies are NLC East champions. We win another pennant here in Philadelphia. We finally take that selfie stick of the San Diego Padres and stick it where the sun don't shine. Smack it over underneath our hips, throw it in the trash, and send them buffoons back to San Diego. Okay? Send all that cockiness back to San Diego, empty-handed with nothing. And Friday night, we start a new chapter. Make sure you're joining me Thursday night, where we pregame, or maybe we pregame Friday night. I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll always be Final Judgment here on Thursday or Friday. You know that every single week we have the show. You know where to go. I'll be cutting up some interview segments as always. Make sure you're following. Make sure you're getting into the fray. Phillies in 6, Adam says. Phillies in 6. Rich says the team is locked in. No matter how much they are down, they aren't out of it. You're right. They just are not out of it. No matter how much they're down, they're not out of it. So as always, man, I got my energy out. I want to get this out. I held it in for 3 or 4 days. It's okay. I'm back. We're here all week. Make sure you're tuning in. Heat Ratio Sports, Win Daily Sports. Make sure you're tuning in to Final Judgment. The Final Judgment, Tony Jigsaw Cutillo. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're liking. Go Phillies. We are here. We're not leaving. And we are not losing this series. Some people have thoughts. Some people have takes. Well, on this show, you get the Final Judgment.